Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alex Light here at Racing Lights Productions, your home for sim racing. Welcome to Pensacola, Florida at Five Flags Speedway. We are hosting our first ever charity race here at Racing Lights Productions. We have the Stuff-A-Bus Snowflake 100. I hope you guys are all excited for some short track racing here tonight. It's been a while since we've had a broadcast, so welcome back for those of you returning, and welcome to those of you tuning in for the very first time. We are very excited to bring to you our first charity race ever. All the race tonight, we are benefiting the 96.1 KISS Stuff-A-Bus event, which goes towards helping the Pittsburgh Toys for Tots. So they help out children that are in need of some joy for the holiday season around the Pittsburgh area. The race tonight has a $5 entry fee. Half of that half of that entry fee goes towards a donation towards the Stuff-A-Bus event, which is actually matched by the Pittsburgh Penguins Foundation. So tonight we've got 13 drivers entering. A $5 donation or $5 entry fee. You have $2.50 going towards the donation. So we're gonna basically put in a $60 donation in tonight after this race. So thank you to all of our drivers on track who are joining us. This is absolutely phenomenal, something that I have been wanting to do for some time, some sort of community event, even when I was commentating Rocket League, all sorts of stuff. So I'm really excited to finally be able to put something together to help out this really awesome event. If you haven't heard of Stuff-A-Bus before or don't really know much about it, it's two of the morning show hosts in the Pittsburgh area that they go out to one of the town centers, the shopping centers out in the West Hills of the Pittsburgh area, and they actually camp out there for an entire week. They have people come out, donate toys, and they fill buses. In the past couple years, they have filled over 60 buses worth of toys to help out children in the area. It's an absolutely phenomenal thing they do. They've been doing it for about 20 years, and it's crazy to see how it's grown over all the years. So again, we are helping out a phenomenal cause here tonight. If you're interested in joining us tomorrow night, we are racing in the Snowball Derby. We'll bring out the super late models, and we're going to run 300 laps around Five Flags. So make sure you join us tomorrow night. And if you're interested in joining, you can message in the chat, and I will put the Discord info, and you can get yourselves in here as well. If you're looking to donate for the Stuff-A-Bus, you can also, in the pinned comment or down in the description below, you can click the link, and that will get you hooked up to the donation site. And again, the Pittsburgh Penguins Foundation is matching any donations. So you can get in basically anything you put in, you give $1, they'll match too. Anything helps, and it all goes to a great cause. So we've got 2 minutes left in qualifying. Drivers are getting ready to take the grid here shortly, and I need to introduce you guys to my co-commentator. Haven't even gotten to him. I've been so focused on talking about what we're here for tonight. But join me in the booth here. I don't know if he's ever commentated an oval race, but we're going to get him in at some short track racing, so some beating and banging. It's definitely going to be interesting for him if it is his first time. We've got Keith Brubaker, and Keith, welcome to Five Flags and welcome to the channel. Glad to have you here. You excited for your first race or your first short track race?
I'm very much looking forward to this. I have a little bit of experience in oval behind the scenes, but I'm excited overall, and it's going to be some good racing for a good cause.
Yeah, we've got a lot of drivers here. Well, we have 13 drivers, if I'm not mistaken, here tonight. I know we had somebody who was having issues with connection. I think we ended up getting him in. So we actually know we are going to be fielding 14 drivers, it appears, tonight. So again, really great thing to be able to have all these guys in here. We will go through the grid here momentarily, but we've got a mix of drivers. Some drivers for me that are new. We've gotten through different Discord servers and just posting out on Reddit and stuff like that. Some joining us if you follow the Dega Boys. We've got guys that are joining us from over at Nexus Sim Racing. So Keith, you actually know a couple of these guys like Matt Yost. You've got Brad Haldane, Tim Trowbridge. So what are you expecting here tonight's race? We've got 100 laps around Five Flags now. It's 100 green flag laps, so caution laps are not going to count. So what are you kind of expecting for tonight's race?
I mean, I'm expecting some good close racing, especially with these cars being, super late model. They're not quite the same as next gen. So bump drafting is a factor, but not as much. But I'm definitely going to be looking forward to some close racing. And I don't believe we're going to have too much of a factor of the yellow flags. As you did say, there's none. So actually, we're not going to have factor yellow flags, but just good racing. Hopefully, I know a couple of these guys have been driving, and their primary discipline on iRacing is oval. So hopefully they're going to show up tonight and put on a great show for us.
Yeah, you talk about how cautions won't necessarily be a factor. Like we said, the caution lap's not going to count tonight. So if there is a caution, we basically freeze the lap counter. But coming into tonight's race, no fast repairs. The drivers are not going to have any extra tires in the pits. So we are running this just like they would the actual Snowflake 100. So when they run the Snowflake 100, they run it. There are no tires in the pits. You get 100 laps, green flag racing. We are running one green-white checkered if we need it at the end of the race. But let's go ahead and go through our starting lineup here for tonight's Snowflake 100. On pole in the number 13, we've got Tyler Barnett. Alongside him will be Josh Cole, just barely off by 200ths of a second. In the second row, we've got Logan Monteith and Bob Belshaw. And in the third row, we've got Tim Trowbridge and Nathan Gentry. In row 4, we've got Anthony Monroe and Brad Haldane. And rounding out our top 10, we've got Ryan. It's supposed to be Ryan. I'm not sure why it says Ryan, but it is Ryan Philbrick and Dade Grajewski. And then in row 6, we've got Matt Yost and Billy Smith. And then rounding out our grid tonight, we're going to have Zach Bates and Brandon Yates. Ignore my name in there. I am not taking the grid tonight. It is in there just so I was able to get into the session, everything, be able to talk to the guys during the race if we need it. And so we've got everybody on track, 14 cars here for tonight, and we are going to have some exciting racing. So hopefully you guys are all ready for this. I am very excited to bring this to you guys. Yeah, and I do realize for our drivers, when you guys go back and watch this, I did accidentally take a couple of the numbers got mixed up a little bit. I realized I had taken Dade's number. He was supposed to be number 6. So, so we had a slight goof there.
Hey, you know what? It's not iRacing if there's not a slight goof.
All right, so we should be ready to go around pacing here momentarily. But you're taking a look here, you can see a nice solid field here. So we're going to have 2 laps around here for pacing, and then we will go green flag. So really excited to see how things play out here tonight. But again, for those of you in the chat, make sure you join us tomorrow night, same time, possibly same place. We might... are we having some issue? I think we might be having some issues with connection for one driver. Looks like maybe Ryan was having some issues. I didn't see anybody jumping around on the grid, but hopefully that all gets cleared up here. But like I was trying to say, tomorrow night... Oh, snap. We did lose a couple guys, didn't we? It sounds like it. Not sure what happened there. We'll have to see if they can get back out on track. So my apologies there. That is bizarre. Okay. There must have been a glitch in iRacing. Apparently there were a couple guys that had some issues. So, like I was trying to say, tomorrow night you can join us for the Snowball Derby. It'll be same time, possibly same place. It'll be either be here or over on the Dega Boys on YouTube as well. So, we're going to go green flag racing. Tyler Barnett going to lead the field around. And we are green flag racing at Five Flag Speedway for the Snowflake 100. Oh, and we already got a slider. That is going to be the 99. He is sideways. We are staying green, it looks like. We may throw out that caution. We kind of have to see how things go. Logan Monteith, though, got caught up by Tim Trowbridge. And we're staying green flag racing. If we do get a caution, we will throw a wave around for those guys if they get lapped, because that is an unfortunate incident there. But already we've got 2 drivers pulling away. Tyler Barnett, Josh Cole, as we are 3 laps in, and they are neck and neck. A little bit further behind, Nathan Gentry and Matt Yost. A little bit further back, racing side by side with Brad Haldane. So as we go through here, early stages, Matt Yost running that high line, trying to see if he can get the grip to come in up there. Not going to get it. He's going to drop back down to the bottom. He falls back to 5th place. So Brad Haldane up to 4th. Behind him, he's got Dade Grajewski trying to see if he can move up, hunting him down. And a little bit further behind him, he's got Billy O. Smith. Right now, your race leader, Tyler Barnett, taken away with this one. He's got Cole right behind, and Cole is all over his back bumper there in the 15 machine. He is running really tight to that 13.
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, you can see these guys are very much standing on top of each other, enjoying the slipstream a little bit. As we're looks like already getting to go into some lap traffic going into this, only into the 7th lap. So lap traffic, I think, is going to be a big factor, and with that slipstream, it could benefit for Barnett right up front there.
And it looks like we've got Bob Belshaw. That's who's in front of them in the 44. He's back on track. One of the drivers had I guess it was some sort of connection issue there to start the race, but glad to see he's on track. We'll see if we get Anthony Monroe and Ryan Philbrick back on track. Really hope to see them back, but you never know. Must have been, like I said, some sort of issue with iRacing. But as we look throughout the field, going a little bit further back, we've got a battle going on here. This is for 7th place. You got Billy Smith in the 12 and Zach Bates in the 19. And Zach making some contact with the outside wall, but he's going to see if he can get caught up there with the 12 car. He's currently hanging back about 3/4 of a second, but that car just doesn't seem to want to grip the right way, because you can see he's running a little wide on the exits. Almost a little too early on throttle, it appears, but the car just not stick where he wants it to go.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that could be a beneficiary of just some tire wear, and this early into the race, that's not a good sign, so hopefully he can back off a little bit in some of these turns and gain a little bit of that grip back, as he is getting into some traffic ahead, so maybe getting that slipstream to cool those tires down, as going in turns like this, that does affect it.
And you can see right now he's making up some ground here on Billy. He's getting caught up. Going to see if he can make a move going up a little bit further ahead there. We've got a good look at some drivers fighting for 3rd place. Brad Haldane trying to close that gap on Gentry. And Nathan Gentry just, a little slide there into turn 3. That's going to make a huge slip up for Brad Haldane. And you're going to see Haldane right on the back bumper here. He's going to see if he can make a move to try and move himself onto the podium. Looking to get into 3rd place. We're right on board here. And you can see just how it is to take a lap around 5 flags in the late model stock car with Brad Haldane, driver of the number 39. A little squirrely on the exit, but he's able to get it back under control. You can see the 4 feeling the heat a little bit. Tries to get on throttle early, not going to work, as he's going to go real wide up to the wall. And here comes Brad Haldane on the inside as he tries to make the move. That's going to get him up to 3rd place. He's onto the podium, but here comes the 4 back again. We are going neck and neck as they go into turn 1.
Yeah, and right there, that switcheroo did come into effect a little bit. Unfortunately, going high, lost in that position. But this battle is going to continue to commence, as this is indeed a short track. That means short racing means anything is possible. Even behind, you can see some of those guys catching up. So this could turn into right there, a 3-way battle for 3rd.
Yeah, you can see a little bit further back, you've got Dade Gentry, or not Dade Grajewski. Sorry about that. He is in the number 6 on the track, and that was my fault. He's the number 8 on your timing sheet. He's running 5th place, trying to see if he can gain a position on Gentry as he's getting closer and closer every lap. It seems like he's really settling in the groove, riding that bottom line. He is painting that seam really nicely as he hugs that apron. Is going to be on the inside of the 4, and he's going to be able to make the move up to 4th place. And now Matt Yost is going to try and capitalize, as he's now back there as well. Although you take a look at Yost's car, look at that right front. It looks like he's got a little bit of damage, maybe a slight bit, but it doesn't seem to be affecting him. He's running his line still pretty well, and they are currently up to 5th place. So top 5 right now: Barnett, Cole, Haldane, Grajewski, and Yost. We are 20 laps in now. Now let's go check in with the race leaders, because we have not seen them for quite some time. And it looks like Barnett's starting to pull away, as Cole now back about a half a second. So we'll see if Cole is able to reel him back in. Still a long way to go throughout this race.
Indeed, and that tire situation is also a little bit of a factor, but you can see I got our lead right here, just kind of enjoying that slipstream of the car ahead, and he's starting to already has a 16-second lead, so he's kind of finding his rhythm. I know some of these guys from among the discords, at least some of the discords I know, are pretty comfortable on the short track. So we might see that they're maybe playing a little bit farther back, wait until the end and make some moves. But anything is possible. Like we're watching right now, possible battle for ninth. Anything is possible in tracks like this.
Yeah, you take a look. Logan Monteith unfortunately got caught up with Tim Trowbridge in the opening lap, but he's trying to make the best of a situation that he is in, up to ninth place as he passes Billy Smith, and now trying to see if he can continue that charge. He's got Zach Bates ahead by about 2 seconds, so he'll see if he can catch up. Checking in the other driver that was involved in that incident, we've got Tim Trowbridge right here. He's in 7th place, riding around. He's slowly trying to gain up on Gentry, but it seems like that group in front kind of fanned out a little bit. But Brad Haldane, Dade, Grajewski still pretty close, within a half second of each other as they try to hunt down the race leaders.
Yeah, and that race lead is still quite a distance, but still this battle for third position, it's starting to break away a little bit, but the slipstream is important, and even looking at that position up front for second, those guys are starting to get closer and closer, so the racing is only just heating up as we still have 75 to go.
Yeah, if you take a look here the past couple laps, you can see Barnett's still gaining a little bit of time on these guys behind, but take a look side by side as they come through turns 1 and 2. Grajewski on the inside. He's going to see if he can make that move way down to the bottom. Barely came up on the back stretch, and he's going to be back on throttle. See if he can get out ahead here through the front stretch. Not going to get it, but a late move on the inside as he tries to send it really deep into turn 1. That is going to make it stick. He's moving up into 3rd place. Brad Haldane dropping back to 4th. But don't be surprised if we see a move back again, as these two have been battling pretty tightly over the past couple laps. And it's going to just, I think, keep ramping up as we go longer throughout this run. Move made a little bit further back. Oh, wrong spot. That would be Tim Trowbridge and Nathan Gentry. As you can see, Gentry, he's having a little bit of trouble getting that car just not sticking for him the way he wants, it seems like, on the entry. He's trying to mix up the line a little bit, goes for a wider entry to try and get a tighter exit so he can get on throttle a little bit earlier. But it almost seems like it's just not quite working. That car doesn't want to swing down the way that he's trying to. It seems like he has to force it a whole lot more.
Yeah, it does. And this is, I believe, an open setup race. So these guys could be all on a different setup. So maybe he didn't dial his setup in properly for today, which is unfortunate. But it does look like he's able to at least control the car, and is losing a little bit of time, but still is relatively sitting in a decent position. That, you know, isn't complainable, as we still have plenty of time for mistakes up front to happen. And especially on a track like this, a theoretical yellow flag could mean the difference between being here and in first position.
Yeah, if you take a look here on board with Nathan Gentry, he's just, again, you see him trying to get that car to the inside. It doesn't seem like it wants to move down there. Having a lot of trouble trying to get it down. But earlier he was doing a good job. It's the entry, maybe trying to get off the throttle a little bit earlier, see if you can get that car to rotate and try and use a little bit of that banking to your advantage. Did you see there? Really good turn. He's able to get it through turns 3 and 4. Just trying to find that consistency is going to be the key as he goes longer and longer through the run. Checking back in with the race leader, though, Tyler Barnett, now coming through some lap traffic. He's got Billy Smith in front of him now. He's already gotten around Bates and Yates. Definitely not confusing to try and say at the same time. And then he's got a couple other drivers to get through. You've got about a second now back to Cole. He's really built a strong gap, and he's kind of checked out at this point. Still a long way to go, but he is currently in control of this one and isn't really looking back at the rest of the field.
Yeah, it is interesting looking at some of these timing sheets. Is like the battles are starting to span out. Like you were saying, that Burnett up there is already basically on his own a lap ahead. So the battles are still commencing between P4 and P3, and then even back behind 5 and 6 are battling. So things are just kind of settling in right now. We're getting to that midpoint of the race where it may not be smart to do moves, but watch your tires, and possibility of mistakes later on with the tires being on the end of their life could factor into higher positions.
Yeah, and that's one of the things about these late model stock cars in iRacing, the official series. You've got what's new this year or this season for B class or C class. they have the open series is a longer race, and you also have cautions thrown in, so you're going to have more of that tire wear. In the shorter races, you can push the car real hard. You're running 50, 60 laps around these short tracks. You really aren't going to run into tire wear too terribly much. But when you run these longer races, 100 laps of green flag racing, or you're running 150 laps of green flag racing, you're going to start to see that tire wear come into effect a little bit more. And so you do have to manage your stuff a little bit. And I think you're starting to see some drivers were able to do that really well. You're starting to maybe see some that are having a little bit of fall off. Again, we still have a while to go. We're not at the halfway point yet, but we are closing in very quickly on that. But taking a look up front, Josh Cole here in the 9. Looks like he might have gotten stuck behind some lap traffic, as he is now almost 2.5 seconds behind that of Tyler Barnett, as Barnett just running away with this race.
Yeah, indeed. I'm just looking at the timing charts. It's crazy. Almost half of our field already is a lap down, just to show you how unfortunate that disconnect has maybe messed with the field. So, unfortunate for some of those guys. But again, tire strategy, especially like Alex was saying about iRacing, managing your tires has become a very important thing with these late model stocks.
Now taking a look here, want to check in with Logan Monteith. He's trying to catch up to Tim Trowbridge, and we had an incident between these two in the opening lap, so hopefully we're not going to have any shenanigans when they come back up to each other if Logan is able to catch Tim. But it looks like Logan making some good headway. If we take a look over the past couple of laps between the two drivers, you can see he's gaining anywhere between 1/2 of a tenth to about 1/10 of a second each lap. So within the next handful of laps, he will be pushing for 6th place, which is going to be huge. And maybe even if we take a look between him and Matt Yost in 5th place, maybe even fighting for a top 5 here for the driver of the 99. So again, making the best of a rough situation. It's unfortunate what happened in that opening lap, but it has been one heck of a recovery drive for him. And he really, if you look in comparison with the race leaders, he's on pace with them. So you almost have to play that game of what if that didn't happen, or if iRacing had thrown the caution, would he be in a better situation? Would he be fighting for a top 3? Would he be fighting for possibly the race win? It's just an unfortunate situation, but you never know. He might be able to get his chance tomorrow night in the super lates. But he's taking a shot here at Tim Trowbridge, now less than a half second away.
Yeah, and this battle is heating up, and we're getting almost already to the halfway point, believe it or not. And like you were saying, a lot of these drivers are joining us tomorrow night, so maybe they don't have a good race tonight, but they can show up tomorrow and put anything in. And again, this is still battle on track, so this is going to be very interesting, as it does look like he may have had a better exit coming to that last turn as we're going in, and he is going to dive for that move, and it does look like he has successfully taken that position.
Yeah, Tim very respectful there. He gives him a lot of space, gonna let him around, but he's looking. You can see how he runs 3 and 4. He's trying to see if he can set up something, maybe try and make a move to get back into 6th place, but that space out of the 99 car is just unmatched by the 74, and you can see he is pulling away. Now he's got the 70 in his sights, trying to see if he can make his way up to the top 5. Matt Yost has been quietly running up here, but we'll see if he's going to be able to hold off Logan Monteith, because he is a man on a mission for sure. As we cross the halfway mark, 50 to go, we'll take a quick moment to run down your top 5 here, or your field for tonight. So far, halfway through the race, I always like to do a mid-race break, give you guys the opportunity to see where your favorite drivers are on track. So taking a look, your race leader is Tyler Barnett. He's been leading all race. He's currently got himself a 3-second gap back to 2nd place, Josh Cole. Then a little bit further back, Dave Grajewski currently running out in 3rd place. He rounds out your podium drivers. Brad Haldane, he's just been quietly running back there in 4th, trying to see if maybe he can catch up to that of Grajewski. Logan Monteith made the move. He got around Matt Yost and is up into the top 5 as well. Then you go back, Matt Yost here is going to be fighting Tim Trowbridge for 6th place here shortly, possibly, depending on if Tim can get his car up there. Tim is going to push the inside, going to make a move for 6th place as we're going through. He is almost sliding out of 4. He manages to get ahead of Matt Yost, so make it 6th place now for the 74 machine. He's got to get that car under control. We don't want to get a slider, although caution for some of these drivers might not be the worst thing. Billy Smith is currently in 8th place. He's been quietly running around. He's on the lead lap still, so good run for him so far. Then you've got Zach Bates in 9th place. Currently finds himself a lap down as well. And then you've got Brandon Yates. He currently is 2 laps down. And then we've got Bob Belshaw, who is unfortunately 5 laps down. And I think, did he end him in row? Yes, he did. I thought I saw his car. He got himself back out there after whatever happened on that opening lap. We'll have to figure out what happened post-race, but he is currently running 12th. It is unfortunate that he is as many laps down as he is. He is currently 10. Nathan Gentry is off track. It looks like maybe he might have pulled it off for the night and taken it into the hauler. And then Ryan Philbrick, unfortunately, it looks like he might have parked it as well. He is rounding out the field in 14th. So that is your mid-race break. And that's where all your drivers are on track. So 42 to go. Tyler Barnett, race leader. You can see a lot of traffic here for the 13 as he's going through the lap cars now, as he's got Trowbridge right in front of him. But Yost, Smith, you've got Bates back there. Now 2 laps down. Lots of traffic around the 13, but he's seeming to navigate it very, very easily. Now just top 5 cars on the lead lap. It has been pure domination right now for the 13.
Yeah, indeed, that domination, you can see he's almost 3 seconds ahead of Cole, and the lap times around here are like 16, 17 seconds. So that lead is very much comfortable, and as you can see, even some of that lap traffic is loving the fact he's up there to give him some of that slipstream, and even the battle right behind him, which is, I believe, that is going to be the 74 car going to be battling with the 70 car. They're going to be loving some of that downdraft or the slipstream to possibly gain some time.
Well, not even that. These guys are battling for position. This is the fight for 6th place. We've seen it time and time again. And they have been going back and forth. But let's take a moment. Let's go ride on board with the 13 of Tyler Barnett and just see what it's like to run a lap around 5 flags, because he obviously has got it down to what seems like a science, because he is pulling away from everybody on track. Taking a look here with Barnett. They're coming around. You can see just how deep he sends it into the corner. It's not a lot of off throttle time, and then a little bit of a feathering of the throttle just so the back end doesn't kick out on him, and then right back in. You don't really hear the brakes. It's a lot of on throttle, quick lift just to get the car to rotate, and then you're back on throttle to get the car off on exit. So a lot of speed you're carrying around this racetrack. And you'll hear tomorrow night when we have the super late, it's going to be a little bit of a different feel because you've got more horsepower in those cars. So it might not be quite the same style, but you expect a lot more sliding perhaps because of the power you have in those cars where they're really light in the back end. You might get some more tail spins in those cars than you see here in the late models. But with 34 laps to go, got a battle here going on. Matt Yost and Tim Trowbridge yet again. Tim trying to see if he can find some extra pace here. Runs that middle line. It's not going to quite work for him as he can't close up on Yost there. But we'll see if he can do it through turns 1 and 2. Trying to close that gap. About 0.3 of a second right now is what Matt Yost has as an advantage.
Yeah, and it's interesting watching these guys drive. They're both super talented drivers, but I know Trowbridge does specialize in oval racing, so he might be, leaving it a little bit back right now as he doesn't know tire strategy could play in later, or maybe he just unfortunately doesn't have the right setup. So as we get closer and closer on those laps to the end, I'll be very curious to see, is he just playing it smart right now and hoping that the car of Matt Yost up there makes a mistake, as he makes a mistake right there.
Yeah, trying to capitalize on that mistake. You can see he is running that bottom line really, really well. Yost, it seems like he might be getting a little tight on exits. Trowbridge tries to send it a little too deep. Gets really tight on entry, but he's going to be able to recover it. Gets down to the inside. He's going to send the inside on Yost through turns 1 and 2, and he is going to clear, but it doesn't look like he's going to actually be clear coming off the exit, as Yost on that outside line carries a little bit more speed, but it's not going to be enough, as it seems like Trowbridge is going to be up to P6 for the time being, but Yost is going to go back on the inside. The 70 tries to push the inside line. They're side by side coming through 1 and 2. A little bit of a slide there from the 70. He's still there on the inside of the 74. Still battling it out here for 6th place.
That's exactly what I wanted to see on a short track like this. Action is always constantly happening. And especially with two drivers that are super talented like these two, you can see the level of respect for each other. And they're making smart decisions, which leads to both good racing for us in the booth. And I wouldn't be surprised if down there they're loving this, as this battle just shows that they're good racers and they have respect for each other.
Yeah, Tim, as you mentioned, Tim and Matt very familiar with each other, racing each other both in Nexus and some short track stuff, as well as Cup Series and the Road Series, so very familiar. And oh, we've got a caution. Very interesting. We'll see what the caution was here in a moment, but that's going to bring the field together. We might do wave arounds here so we can get some of these lap cars on the lead lap. We'll check. I'll ask the guys here in a second and see what they want to do. So I will apologize. You're going to see the UI pop up. But our first caution, only caution so far. Oh, hold on. Oops, I didn't want to do that. My apologies. What happened with... Okay, it was just iRacing being weird. Okay.
Yeah, this is very unfortunate for that lead that Barnett has, as he had a very solid 3-second lead. So now that the pack is bunching up, he may not have that. So he's going to maybe have to shift out of that, hey, on smooth sailing mode to now, hey, I got to race again. I'm not aware of anything, but that is interesting. They might be having some issues as we are coming to the end of the season. Yeah, I have no idea. What was that?
All right, my apologies there, guys. I needed to talk to the drivers real quick to figure out. All right, sorry, I need to figure out what was going on there. The oh my gosh, if I could get words out, I apologize for being all over the place. Trying to figure out what is happening here with the iRacing side of things, because it is struggling a little bit. If you guys saw there, we had the whole timing board was jumping around all over the place, and so I didn't know what was happening there, if it was something on my end or if it was something on the driver's end. I'm looking, when I see stuff, I've got a whole thing that tells me what's going on track. There's incidents, passes, stuff like that, and I see a ton of red popping up from drivers crashing, and I'm like, I don't see anybody wrecking, so I didn't know what was going on there. So I apologize. I had to mute my side of the broadcast here for a moment so I could talk to the drivers, figure out what was going on. But we are going to go green flag racing this time by. Lights on the pace car are off. We're going to go green with 25 to go, or sorry, 26 to go. 4 cars on the lead lap. It's going to be a 4-car fight for the race win, but some cars might be able to get themselves on the lead lap. We've got Brad Haldane, Tim Trowbridge, Matt Yost, all 1 lap down. We'll see if they can get themselves back up. But Barnett, Cole, Monteith, Grajewski, all on the lead lap. Let's go green flag racing, and we're going to go to our sights and sounds. We're going to kick up the audio here and give you guys the sights and sounds of Five Flag Speedway. All right, we hope you enjoyed the sights and sounds of Five Flags Speedway. We have a caution out, and I'm not sure what brought that caution out. We'll go see here in a moment. It looks like it might have been something involving Tim Trowbridge. So let's go take a look. The 74 coming through. Oh, it gets a little loose around the exit of turn 2. Manages to keep it off the wall, but is going to bring out our second caution here for the night. So the fact that we went green flag racing almost 75 laps and we only get a couple cautions here at the very end is a very impressive thing. Kudos to these drivers for doing such a phenomenal job here. So it looks like, yeah, we're having some, again, glitchiness for some reason. iRacing is just struggling. But we are going to have 4 drivers on the lead lap. Logan Monteith, as you can see, made his way up to second place. So it's now Barnett, Monteith, Cole, and Grajewski. So, Keith, taking a look here, the top 4, if you're Barnett, obviously you've had great pace all night long, but if you're one of those other 4, we saw Cole, who was maintaining for a good portion of the opening section of this race. We've seen Monteith maintaining similar pace. Grajewski didn't really get a chance to fight for the race lead. But what do you think is kind of the strategy for those other 3 drivers to see if they can get around Barnett?
I mean, honestly, for them, if I was in their situation, I'd be batching on the others, you know, bump drafting abilities to try to catch up. Barnett has looked super solid and has currently the best lap time on the track by a significant margin. So I'd be taking advantage of my other, I guess, they would be teammates, but my other driver is with me and trying to bump draft past him. But I don't think that's going to be even feasible. Looking at some of these times, it's ridiculous, some of the time differences, but you know what? Anything has happened.
Well, the one thing about like the short track racing, you really have the bump drafting, but you'll see a lot of, if it comes down to it, drivers trying to make other drivers move in order to get the position. So that's one thing to maybe keep an eye on as we get down to the closing laps. Maybe somebody's willing to move somebody out of the way to use that bumper and get an opportunity to make a pass. You never know. The one thing about these cars, because of how on throttle you are, how much speed you're carrying, sometimes that slight bump can turn you sideways, especially at a track that's a high-speed track for the late model stock, like the Five Flags Speedway. Other tracks that maybe are a little bit slower paced, like a South Boston and a Hickory and stuff like that, where you're not as on throttle as much, doesn't necessarily result in a spin. But we'll kind of have to see. We'll see what the strategies are. Cole now in 3rd place, so he's starting behind Barnett. Monteith on the outside on row 1, and Grajewski is in 4th place. He's on the outside of row 2. We're going to go green flag racing, 22 laps. Who's going to come away with the first Stuff a Bus Snowflake 100 victory? And it's going to be Barnett off to a great start. Monteith, though, going to look the inside. Is he going to make the dive? He's going to try. It's not going to work, though, as you can see Barnett pulling away. But Monteith sticking very close there in the 99. He is just 2/10 off of the race leader.
Yeah, and this racing is just kicking off. We've had very good racing up to this point, and especially now that the yellow flag is out and these cars are back re-racked, anything is possible. As you can see, that battle for P1 is commencing. Even though I was saying earlier that Barnett is a good racer and is really good, it does look like that 99 car of Monteith is literally on top of him. So like Alex was saying, he might move him out of the way, but anything is possible.
Right now you can see he's maintaining that gap. He just can't seem to close it up once you get closer on the bumper of the 13. But that 13 just is able to get just a slight bit advantage, it seems like, through the middle of the corner. And you can see getting on the entry, he's able to get that car down a little bit further. The 99 tries to see if he can get on throttle earlier to get more pace, but it's almost like he pushes a little too tight. What a send there from the 99. He tries to push it really hard through turn 3, trying to experiment. You've got to start taking shots at things. Got to try different lines here to try and mix it up. See if you can find pace. That's exactly what the 99's doing. He realized he's got the momentum, he's got the pace to stick with him, but they're just matching right now. So you can see he is trying different things to try and catch up and make up that 2/10. But the problem is the consistency of Tyler Barnett. He has just been so smooth all race long, and that's where it is killing Monteith right now. Trying to change things up, he's just not quite right, comfortable with how those changes are working, it seems like, and that's causing him to lose some time on the 13, as that gap went from about 2/10 just 5 laps ago back to about a half a second now, and he is still dropping little bit by little bit. But you look a little bit further behind, we've got ourselves quite the battle for P3 as Grajewski trying to see if he can get him back. Oh, wow, if I could talk, that'd be great. Get himself back up to the podium as he's on the inside of Cole. Contact's made. Cole is sideways going through turn 2. He managed to get turned back around, and oh my goodness, that was almost a caution there. And yeah, you can tell they had contact not meant there from Grajewski, but my goodness, what a play there by the 6 car.
Yeah, indeed. Like we were talking about, that was him trying to move him, but unfortunately, I don't know if it was unfortunate or not, there was that collision, and that 6 car really didn't win out too terribly much, unfortunately.
Now, if we take a look a little bit further back, we've got some more battles going on. You've got Matt Yost and Trowbridge back at it again, but they have a little bit of a buffer in between. The 44 of Bob Belshaw is currently in between them. Taking a look at chat real quick, we've got Kevin Baumler. He's the crew chief for Barnett and Monteith. So teammates actually racing each other for the race win. Kind of a wild thing. But it seems like Barnett has got himself quite the advantage. Ooh, Trowbridge getting a little squirrely out of 2. And now this is where you're seeing the tire wear really come into effect. Some of these drivers having to try and really push the car through to the end of the race. 10 laps to go as Matt Yost going to take advantage of Trowbridge having a little bit of grip wear trouble. And as he's going to push the inside, that's going to move himself up to 6th place. Tim Trowbridge back to 7th.
Yeah, and we're getting closer and closer to this race being done. We probably have another about 5 minutes left, and at this point, if I was in position right now, I would be very much trying to push up, as that gap between all these cars, it really do look like it's extending to that. I think this probably, I'm deeming a yellow flag, this will probably be our finishing results. But I think overall, so far, this has been a great race. What about you, Alex?
Oh, it's been absolutely phenomenal. These drivers have done a great job. We've had a wide range of racing throughout the entire field as well. And I mean, 75 laps, green flag racing there at the beginning. It was a great start, and we even had some good battling here throughout the end. But like you said, the field is spread out a good bit. Not really too many battles going on track right now, as Tyler Barnett coming around for 6 to go, getting closer and closer to the end. He's built himself over a 2-second lead. The Martin Sports 13 car has just looked absolutely phenomenal all night long. So it makes me excited. I believe he is on the grid for us tomorrow night for our Snowball Derby. And I'm just trying to look here. Actually, he is not on the grid for tomorrow night. So he is actually just racing here tonight. My apologies. But we do have a handful of these drivers that will be joining us tomorrow night. Drivers such as Ryan Philbrook, Dave Grajewski, we have Billy O. Smith, Zach Bates, Brandon Yates, Bob Belshaw, Tim Trowbridge, Anthony Monroe, all joining us again tomorrow night for our Snowball Derby. And again, like I said earlier off the top of the broadcast, that race will be taking place either here or over on the Dega Boys on YouTube. And so you can join us over on Twitter if you look at Racing Lights Productions. We'll be posting whenever the broadcast goes live, no matter where it's at, because again, this is all for charity. We are trying to raise money for the Stuff a Bus event, which is something that takes place every year the week after Thanksgiving, to collect toys and raise money for toys for children that need a little bit of joy around the Pittsburgh area during the holiday season. But 2 laps to go. Tyler Barnett got the popsicle sticks from Barney the Flagman, coming around turns 3 and 4. The white flag is out, and you can see it. There he goes, waving the white flag. We are final lap for that of Tyler Barnett. And he comes around the backstretch for the final time. It has been a great race, great showing for the 13. He comes around for the checkered flag. And your race winner for our inaugural Stuff a Bus Snowflake 100 is going to be Tyler Barnett. And Logan Monteith able to hold on to second place. Dale Grajewski was closing that gap a good bit. And so we're going to go through the final order once everybody comes across the line. But great racing here tonight from everybody, and it looks like we might have everybody all the way through. So let's take a moment, let's go through our entire finishing order, so you get a nice view there of the 13. That's actually a perfect spot. I like that angle. But take a look, your race winner, like I said, we got Tyler Barnett. He had almost a 4-second gap to Logan Monteith, and Dave Grajewski rounds out the podium positions. Josh Cole in 4th. Brad Haldane rounds out the top 5. He's your first car 1 lap down. Matt Yost in 6th. Tim Trowbridge 7th. Then Brandon Yates in 8th. Bob Belshaw in 9th. Anthony Monroe rounds out your top 10. Zach Bates in 11th. Ryan Philbrick, Billy Smith, and Nathan Gentry round out your field here tonight. So for our first ever charity event, it was a phenomenal race. The guys did a great job. Really excited to see how things went. And it was just a blast to have some kind of event like this. So again, thank you to all of the drivers for joining us here on track. But let's go ahead and get our top 3 in here. We're going to start off with our 3rd place finisher. I believe he is in the channel. Yes, he is. We've got Dade Gradjuski. So we've got Dade Gradjuski here, driver of the number 6 machine. And Dade, this is Alex Slave up in the booth. You got a copy?
I got you here. How you doing?
Doing great. Thank you for joining us on track here tonight. It was a blast having you. And man, you had some great racing out there from a wide, like you were all over the place. You had a little bit of a rough start, but you were able to bounce back. I know there was that incident on lap 1 that kind of slowed some people up. But throughout the race, you had a phenomenal recovery drive and even got up onto the podium there at the end, almost made a push for 2nd place. Take us through that race a little bit.
Yeah. First off, I just want to apologize to Ronald Cole or Josh Cole. I don't know who was in the chat, but I ran over him. I slid up the track, getting into the 3rd after that last caution. But that whole entire night, I mean, I started off bad with qualifying. I just had a horrible run, got caught up, like you said, and I just managed my tires, really. I knew it was going to be a 100-lap race, and it's going to, I run late models every night or every Monday night, so I know it comes down to tires. So, and that's what it was managing tires.
Yeah, that's one of the ones we had mentioned that a little bit on the broadcast. So with these longer races, it does come down to tire wear. I know for myself, I've had a short track league where we did anywhere between 100 to 150 laps, and you kind of saw that throughout the run, and you did a great job managing those tires. It seemed like your car was just getting more comfortable the way you went. Is that kind of how you set up the car?
So I don't know anything about setting up these cars, so I just want to shout out Team 53 for they're the ones who actually provided my setup, and I didn't even know what I was going to go with tonight, but so shout out to them. They had an awesome setup, but I actually didn't even have enough fuel in the car, and that's why I pitted with 25 to go.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
So the entire race, I was just trying to save enough fuel, and I was 8 laps short, and I finally got the break with the caution and came down and realized I was still on the lead lap. I was still 4th, and I was in a great position still. So, I was right behind Logan, and just that last run, I mean, I can't believe how much tire I had left. I was 67% on the right side, both sides, or both tires, and it was great. But I want to let you guys talk to the winners. Just the 3rd place doesn't matter.
Oh no, you still matter. You had, again, like I said, it was a phenomenal drive for you. But we'll see you on track tomorrow night, and hopefully it'll actually be the number 6. I apologize for taking your number tonight. Did not mean to. Didn't realize I did until I was already in 10 minutes. So,
No
but I
worries.
apologize for that. But
No worries. Thanks,
taking
man.
a look. Tomorrow night, you're going to be joining us on track for the Super Late Models and the Snowball Derby, so really excited to have you back on track tomorrow night, and it's going to be a lot of fun going around 300 laps tomorrow night, so I'm really excited. But before you head on out and get ready for tomorrow night, anybody else you want to thank? Anything else you'd like to say?
I just want to thank you for putting this on, KISS 96.1, I think, and the Stuff a Bus, and just my sponsors, Diamond Naturals, and that's it, and just everybody who puts this on, and thank you.
All right, that is Dade Gradjuski. Did I say that right? Did I say your last name correctly?
Gradjuski, it's close enough. Pretty close.
So close. Okay, I try the best I can to get pronunciations right. So
No worries, man. Thank you very much.
All right. So that is Dade Gradjuski, driver of what is supposed to be the number 6 machine. 3rd place finish here tonight. We'll see him tomorrow night on track. So, Keith, I'm going to send it on over to you. We're going to have you talk with Logan Monteith, the number 99 driver. He finished 2nd place here in tonight's Snowflake 100.
Got a copy, Logan?
Yeah, I got you.
So how about that race? That was some chaos and hecticness, and we just heard from Dade there. Was tire management something that you were worried about, or were you just kind of cruising and going smooth?
Well, I wish I could have saved tires that race, but after I got spun there on the first lap. I kind of had to throw that out the window. My right rear was already hot at that point from the slide, and so I just decided to go for it and charged all the way up to fourth there through that green flag run from the almost going a lap down, and got a lucky break there with the caution. And then at the end, my tires were just too shot from going through the field there, and I was just hanging on the last 10 laps.
Well, it does definitely seem like that luck factor in, and we've seen a couple of the cars struggling through some of those turns. Were you running any setup, or were you just kind of find your rhythm through them?
Yeah, Tyler and I were running the same setup there, and we have a great setup builder, Kevin Baumler. He knows exactly what we want in a car, and he can definitely deliver.
Awesome. Well, is there anybody you want to shout out for the second place race tonight?
My team, Evil Empire. Thank you for broadcasting this, and then I mean, this charity event. All the money going towards it, and yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you, Logan, for joining us up here in the booth. I just want to say thank you again for joining us on track. You had a phenomenal race, even though it didn't start out the way you wanted. That was one heck of a drive to get up to second place for the finish.
Thank you.
All right, so now we are going to bring in your race winner here for tonight. We've got the driver of the number 13 machine, Tyler Barnett. And Tyler, congratulations on that race win. You had that 13 car on rails all night long.
Yeah, that was a really good performance. I got to thank my setup guy though, CJB Setups, Kevin J. Baumler. He set up a magnificent car. Obviously, I mean his car's finished 1-2 tonight, so I'm glad that this event is put up for a good cause too. So that was an awesome broadcast too. By the way, thank you for this. So just having all that come together, being able to take the win here too, just thank the Lord for that. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal drive. And looking at the beginning of the race, because that's where you had some of your closest racing there, and then Logan gave you a good push there at the end. You had both Cole and Monteith right on your back bumper. When you have those guys right back there pushing so hard, like only about 2/10, maybe 3/10 off, what kind of is going through your head trying to defend and trying to hold off on that position?
Honestly, with Logan, I trust him quite a bit. Him and I have been racing since NASCAR Heat together since like 2018, so I'm very familiar with how he drives and how he's going to race me, which is very clean, by the way. So with him, I wasn't too worried about him making like a super dive bomby move. And then as for Cole, I knew he burnt up his tires because I was talking to Logan and Kevin, and he was kind of just falling off a cliff late in the run there. So I knew that he wasn't going to pose a huge threat on a restart. I knew that like within 2 or 3 laps, Logan and I would probably pull away most likely just because of our tire management. But yeah, I mean, early on though, he definitely gave me a run for my money, and I was a little bit worried about that too because he was fast. So with that though, it's just tire management. And then when that big green flag run came about, I was just trying to manage my tires, just keep the car as straight as possible in the corners and wait for a caution just in case, because I knew that chances are something was going to happen late, especially with a caution-free big first half like that.
Yeah, especially once tire wear starts to settle in, you can always kind of expect that to come out. But hey, the big thing for you, consistency was key here tonight. Even when we saw it there at the end, you just were able to consistently hit that line, like you said, get that car down on the bottom. You were making sure you weren't sliding the rears on the exit. You were able to get that nose to stick down low. It was just a great masterclass for you here tonight in that 13 machine. I will be contacting you about how to get you the prize money for you. So
nah, you're good. Donate it. Donate all of it. Positive.
Oh, I appreciate that, man. That is absolutely phenomenal, because then that doubles what we're going to do. So not only are we already putting towards what's going to be a $60 donation, it's going to be over $100 now because of that. So greatly appreciate that, Tyler. That is phenomenal.
Of course.
Thank you. But before you head on out, hey, no, I appreciate you. If I wouldn't be able to do this if you guys didn't come out on track. So I thank you again for joining us. But before you head on out to celebrate your win, is there anybody else you would like to thank?
Yeah, of course. Well, obviously you for broadcasting stuff above Snowflake 100. I mean, the great event that you put on, and it was a little like not last minute, but people didn't sign up to like the last second or pay their registry, so that was a little interesting. But that was awesome. Everybody getting together like that just to represent a great cause that you've put on. So thank you, most importantly, for this. I want to thank my sponsors too, Martin Sports and Evil Empire Sim Sport. They've helped me out tremendously. They've given me gloves for Martin Sports, and for Evil Empire, just a great group of guys. Obviously, like I said, Logan, Cavan, his setup company, and Breakheart Designs. He designed that paint scheme for me, and it was just simplistic but really nice looking paint job. So thanks to everybody like that and everybody else who watches. Thank you all for watching too.
Simple schemes are probably some of the, sometimes I think, in my opinion, some of the cleanest ones. So they're some of the nicest looking. So nothing wrong with having a simple looking scheme, that's for sure.
No, sir.
Yeah, and like you said, I know some of it was kind of like last minute, yeah. But you know what? We put on a great first event, and hopefully that just helps get more people for next year. So we're hoping to continue this, make this kind of like an annual thing. But thank you again, Tyler, for joining us. Congratulations on your first place tonight.
Thank you, man. And once again, thank you guys. You guys are awesome.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. So that was Tyler Barnett, your race winner here tonight in the 13 machine, and a huge congratulations goes out to him, as well as Logan Monteith, buddies over at Evil Empire Motorsport. I believe I said that correctly. They came away 1-2 here tonight. Now, we have a bunch of these drivers joining us again tomorrow night, like I had said earlier. You'll see some of them on track, such as Ryan Philbrook, Dade Grajewski, Billy O. Smith, Zach Bates, Brandon Yates, Bob Belshaw, Tim Trowbridge, and Anthony Monroe. I believe Josh Cole as well is joining us tomorrow night. And we will have some other new faces on track tomorrow night as we take the super late models around here for 300 laps. For our Snowball Derby, we will have cautions every 75 laps. We'll go over all those details tomorrow night when it comes to that point. But Keith, any last minute thoughts here about tonight's race? Maybe some stuff that we could expect for tomorrow's race in the super late models.
I just want to shout out our winner for donating that $50 to charity. That was an awesome move that we were able to double it up. And like you were saying before, so many of those children are going to have maybe a better Christmas thanks to that. But what we should look forward to tomorrow, I think, honestly, the same action. It's going to be more slidey. It's going to be more chaotic. And especially with those flags every 75 laps or whatever it was, it's going to make that strategy even more a big factor. And I don't know about you, Alex, but I think we're going to have even better racing tomorrow.
Yeah, so 75 laps every is going to be a caution, just like they do in the real-life Snowball Derby that regulates the pit stops. You're able to come in, take a full fresh set of tires if you want. So it's going to be a little bit of strategy coming out from these cars. They're going to be refueling, stuff like that. So it's going to be a really interesting race tomorrow night. If you haven't watched a Snowball Derby race before or been a part of one, definitely come check it out. If you're looking to donate to Stuff-A-Bus, like I said earlier, the Pittsburgh Penguins Foundation is matching any donations made to the Stuff-A-Bus, the 96.1 KISS Stuff-A-Bus. Again, it goes towards benefiting the Pittsburgh Toys for Tots. It helps children in the Pittsburgh area that need a little bit of help with some joy for this holiday season, provides them with some toys. So you can find the donation link either in the pinned comment in the YouTube chat or down in the description below. And again, any donation made is matched by the Pittsburgh Penguins Foundation. A huge shout out again to Tyler Barnett for donating his race winnings here tonight. That is going to take our donation total from being what would have been, I believe, like, if I'm doing my math correctly, like $30, which is matched by the Penguins, to $60. So then, because it's being matched, our donation is basically over $100, which is absolutely phenomenal. Like I said off the top of the broadcast, and this is just me being a little personal about things, I've been wanting to help out with this for some time, not only just donating toys, but using my platform. I've been broadcasting Rocket League, now iRacing for several months, and being able to use that platform for some good. I've been wanting to be able to do that, and this is a great way to help just people in my own community. I'm from the Pittsburgh area. I actually now teach in the Pittsburgh public schools, so really getting to see some of that firsthand, it's really nice to be able to see that this is going to help maybe even some of my own students. So I appreciate you guys all for being a part of this race. It's a really awesome thing to be able to do this. And you can't see it over the stream, but I have a huge smile on my face right now just being able to do this. So thank you again for joining us. Tomorrow's race will either be broadcasted here at 9 p.m. or over on the Dega Boys on YouTube. You can check out Twitter for when it's going to be live and where it will be live, or you can join the Discord as well. The Discord link is in the YouTube chat, so you can join us there. But if you want to join, there's still time to register. Right now, I believe we have 12 or 13 drivers for the Snowball Derby. I would love to be able to increase that number. All that's going to do is increase not only the action on track, but the money that we can give towards a great cause. So thank you again, guys, for joining us here at Racing Lights Productions for our first annual Stuff a Bus Snowflake 100. It's been awesome to be able to put this on, and I want to thank you, Keith, for joining me up here in the booth. We had a great race here tonight for our late model stock cars around Five Flags. Join us tomorrow night as we take the super late models around Five Flags for our Snowball Derby. If you want to catch more Racing Lights Productions action, you can join us actually next Saturday. We have our Cup Series for the OMA VRC starting up with their Daytona 250, and you can see any previous streams on our channel as well, so you can check those out. But until next time, my name is Alex Light here at Racing Lights Productions, your home for sim racing. I will catch you guys next time. Have a great night.